It has a capital city, Hargeisa, a military, and it issues its own passports and license plates. It has held multiple rounds of internationally monitored democratic elections, a remarkable feat of stability in one of the world's most volatile regions. And yet, for all its functional statehood, Somaliland remains a ghost on the geopolitical stage. To understand why, you have to look at its complicated and often tragic relationship with its neighbor, Somalia. For most of the world, Somaliland is simply an autonomous region of Somalia. Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia, firmly claims sovereignty over Somaliland's territory. But the people of Somaliland? They see things very differently. To them, they aren't a breakaway region. They're a restored nation. And their claim is rooted in a history that most of the world has forgotten. A forgotten history. To really get this story, we have to go back in time, long before the chaos that has defined Somalia for decades. During the scramble for Africa, this territory became the British Somaliland Protectorate. On June 26, 1960, Britain granted it full independence. For 5 brief, glorious days, the state of Somaliland was a sovereign country, recognized by 36 nations, including the United Kingdom, the United States, and Egypt. Queen Elizabeth II even sent a message of congratulations. But this independence was designed to be short-lived. Driven by a powerful dream of a greater Somalia that would unite all Somali-speaking people, the brand-new state of Somaliland voluntarily entered a union with the neighboring trust territory of Somaliland, a former Italian colony, which gained its own independence 5 days later. On July 1, 1960, they joined to form the Somali Republic. What began as a union of equals quickly soured. The northern people of the former British Somaliland, who are primarily from the Isaac clan, felt increasingly marginalized and shut out of power by the government in Mogadishu. Tensions simmered for years, but they exploded after Siad Barre seized power in a military coup in 1969. His brutal dictatorship turned its sights on the north. In response, the Somali National Movement, or SNM, was formed in 1981 to fight for their rights. Barre's retaliation was genocidal. Between 1987 and 1989, his regime unleashed a campaign of terror against the Isaac people, massacring an estimated 200,000 civilians. His own government's air force carried out a relentless aerial bombardment of Hargeisa. An estimated 90% of the city was destroyed, earning it the horrific nickname, the Dresden of Africa. Hundreds of thousands fled their homes, becoming refugees in neighboring Ethiopia. This was the final, bloody end of the Union. When the Barre regime finally collapsed in 1991 and Somalia descended into chaos, the leaders of the North made a choice. They declared the Union over. On May 18, 1991, they reclaimed the sovereignty they had voluntarily given up 3 decades earlier and re-established the Republic of Somaliland, building a country from scratch. While Somalia fractured into a battleground for warlords and extremist groups, Somaliland began the painstaking work of building a nation from the ashes. They didn't have billions in international aid or waves of foreign investment. What they had was a unique system that blended traditional clan authority with modern democratic institutions. Through a series of grassroots peace conferences, clan elders successfully disarmed local militias and laid the groundwork for a new government. They drafted a constitution, which was overwhelmingly approved by a public referendum. They created their own currency, the Somaliland shilling, and established a police force and army. Most importantly, they achieved something that has eluded the rest of Somalia for decades: peace. Step into Hargeisa today, and it feels like a world away from the violence that has so often plagued Mogadishu. It's a bustling capital, rebuilt from the rubble by the sheer will of its people and the support of a global diaspora. While challenges like poverty and unemployment are very real, the streets are safe. Businesses are thriving. Elections are held, and power changes hands peacefully. It is a functioning, self-governing democracy in a region starved for one. It's an incredible story of resilience, isn't it? If you're finding this as fascinating as I do us a quick favor and hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that you want to see more important stories like this one, stories that are often hidden from the headlines. The paradox of non-existence. So, if Somaliland has a historical claim to independence, a democratic government, and has maintained peace for over 30 years, why does no one recognize it? The answer is a tangled knot of geopolitics. The African Union has a foundational principle: to respect the colonial-era borders. The fear is that recognizing Somaliland would open a Pandora's box of secessionist movements across the continent and lead to widespread instability. Following the AU's lead, world powers like the United States and the European Union have opted to officially support the territorial integrity of a unified Somalia, even if the government in Mogadishu has no actual control over Somaliland. This lack of recognition creates immense practical problems. Somaliland's passports aren't widely accepted, making travel a nightmare for its citizens. The government can't get loans from institutions like the World Bank or the IMF. Foreign investment is severely limited. They are, in essence, locked out of the international system. This hasn't stopped Somaliland from functioning, but it has severely handicapped its development. The stability they have fought so hard to build is constantly under pressure, both from this external isolation and from internal challenges, including recent territorial disputes in regions like Las Anod, where some clan groups favor rejoining Somalia. A new chapter on the horizon? For 30 years, Somaliland remained in this diplomatic limbo. But recently, the geopolitical calculus in the Horn of Africa has started to shift. In January 2024, landlocked Ethiopia, desperate for sea access, signed a landmark memorandum of understanding with Somaliland. The proposed deal would lease 20 kilometers of Somaliland's coast for an Ethiopian naval base. In exchange, Ethiopia offered something Somaliland has wanted for decades: a pathway to formal recognition. The deal sent shockwaves through the region. It infuriated Somalia, which recalled its ambassador and called it an act of aggression. While the deal's future remains highly uncertain, with significant diplomatic pushback, it has cracked open the door to a new reality and proven that Somaliland's persistence is beginning to change the conversation. The story of Somaliland forces us to ask a fundamental question: what truly makes a country? Is it a flag, an anthem, and a seat at the United Nations? Or is it the ability of a people to govern themselves, to maintain peace, to hold elections, and to build a society from the ground up? Somaliland has proven its statehood through its actions for over 30 years. It has been a beacon of stability in a turbulent sea. While its future is far from certain, and the path to full international acceptance is still long and fraught with challenges, its people continue to build their nation, day by day, with or without the world's permission. What do you think? Does Somaliland deserve a spot on the world map? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to dive deeper into the world's hidden places and untold stories, make sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching.